Okay, Victoria 3 fans, I've got a new camera location so we can see everything that comes up on the left-hand side of the screen without me having to move my camera around. And let's talk about the mid-game of Victoria 3, the expansion phase. The first third of the game is building up the internal economy, getting your GDP up, getting things developed, and being proficient there. Then the second third of the game is going out into the world and making your colonies. And we'll talk about the why of that, particularly the why of that historically. And then the final third is a collision. There's not as much left to grab, and your industries require raw materials that are being held by somebody else, and you've got to get them. So what are the reasons for all these things? Well, let's take a look here. I'm in 1860. I've had a very lucky German Empire run. Started as Prussia, of course. It was unifying Germany, building up my customs union, having a fun time. And then France had a legitimist revolt, and Austria chose to support France in the middle of that revolt. And I thought, well, they're rather diverted. And rather than support the French, I just decided I'll declare neutrality and then declare war on Austria to get Bohemia. And then I got to add German leadership and some other cool stuff there. So I was out, but I only wanted one state because I feel an important rule for a player against the computer is limit yourself historically. Yes, you could grab more and get away with it. Don't. Play by the rules that the nations played by historically. I wanted one province. That's it, Bohemia. I didn't ask for anything else. And then as I was preparing for war with Austria, Belgium sided with Austria. I'm like, okay. That's an interesting choice you made there, Belgium. I had very good relations with Britain and Russia. They were not getting involved. But Belgium decided it needed to stick its nose in my business. And I had the infamy left, and I decided this is where the rest of Europe would sort of say, okay, you go for it, Germany. They brought it on themselves. Bam! My war goals. This is why Germany has Belgium, because they decided to go against me, bro. What? Fought the war, got the areas there, freed Schleswig-Holstein from Denmark, formed the North German Federation. The South German states kind of wavered in their support. I had to bring them back in diplomatically, eventually brought them into the fold. All was good. Looked at the Netherlands, said, you got a Luxembourg that's really part of my Wallonia, and after a brief discussion with military conflict, they agreed. And I said, okay, we got this. I worked at building up industry within Germany, worked at building up the army and the navy, because I knew it was going to need to expand. It was going to need to modernize and go out there. But everything, all my technology up to about this point was industrial, just to get the industry built out there. You'll also see that here Sardinia Piedmont has picked up the Lombardia and Venetia from Austria, because they were rebelling right around the time I was beating them in the head. Oh yeah, I did have help from the Ottoman Empire. They took humiliation of Austria as a war goal. Like, sure, let's do that. Yeah. And then another war happened here. Spain got its butt kicked by England, and I think France had some trouble and got English help by giving them a part of Algeria. So that was interesting. The USA got its western stuff here, still waiting to see what happens with Oregon. And yeah, Brazil's looking okay there. British East India Company had a few revolts, and it's actually now taken in Punjab. I like this one here. I had another game where Britain took over Punjab, and United Kingdom, like, what? No. But they have really expanded out here. Macron looks like it's next on their menu, and they're slowly taking over these other states with the doctrine of lapse, I'm sure. And then we have the German East Indies. There was a squabble between Sintang and the Dutch East Indies. I waited until the Netherlands supported it, and then I said, hey, Sintang, I'll support you with a war goal. Transfer the subject to me. The subject being the German East Indies. The not the Belgians, the Dutch were very upset about that. Sintang lost the war, but Germany picked up the pieces. Nobody else was involved with the Netherlands, and now it's the German East Indies. Okay, so 1860, I figure Germany is ready to begin expanding. It's a unified state. It's got colonies overseas, and it's wondering, oh my gosh, what do we do? Because we got to manage them. We got to have a route to them. And right now that route goes a long way around Africa, and it's in Africa that we got no colonies in at all. So one way to get there would be to go through Africa, not around it, but through it. And the Khedivate of Egypt has got a very small army. My navy is well built out. I've got 120 ships, 2 navies of 60 each, and I've got this 10th Division here of Wallonia, which has got 25 units. It should be able to land somewhere in Egypt, take it over, and knock them down pretty hard. And take as much of it as I feel like, because, who cares about Egypt? And then the Ottoman Empire, which sees me as a, let me go back over here to Germany here, actually. And the Ottomans view the Germans as a threatening force. I thought we were buds after going against Austria, but okay. I will, after taking over a bunch of Egypt from the Egyptians, I'll take over some more from the Ottomans. I'm cool with that. And then I got to work on building the canal. So I'm building out my administration, so that way I'll be able to get more administration points to do the Suez survey, and then I'll use the remainder to help build my health sector. I passed public health insurance. Like I tell you, this has been a fun run here. That's why the industrialists are so mad. I've been passing things over their head, but oh well. Yeah. So once I get a Suez Canal, then I say Germany is ready to carry on and expand into the Indian Ocean area and on into Indonesia. But to get to that Egyptian part there, rather than going all the way around Spain, wouldn't it be nicer if we could just go through Austria? The whole go through somebody is the philosophy I want to have here. And going through Austria would be a very nice strategy. Oh, right. Now, how do I justify all this historically? Well, there were 3 guides for the colonial expansion during this time period. The first was pride or prestige or whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to start with the letter P because I've got a nice alliterative list here. Prestige, national pride, meant that by having these overseas territories, the nation would look better on the world stage, and you just be cooler and better, and all the kids would wish they were with them and stuff like that. So yeah, taking over other areas certainly adds more prestige. Forming Germany gave a huge amount of prestige. Taking over Belgium and getting the stuff out there, yes. And if I take a look at how we're doing overall, let's rank by prestige. Yes, I'm number 2 overall in prestige because I've got lots of cool things going on here. Big army, big navy, yeah, making lots of goods. This is good stuff here. And oh wow, I've got just a little bit more population than the United Kingdom and just a little bit better standard of living than the United Kingdom. Okay, my GDP is lower, but we're going to work on that. That's because the next part is also going to be products. Now, already, Germany has suffered some shortages during wartime because of disruption. Getting a source of dyes is the first thing because we've got a nice luxury clothing and luxury furniture industry. We need dyes for that. We need dyes for our paper industry. Getting a reliable source of dyes that involves going into areas of the world where they're made. And Persia's got a lot of them. So Persia is a desirable location to conquer. And then other things are going to come into play. Opium is something that we're going to want as we develop our medical technology. or just about to discover rubber and the uses for rubber that will propel us forward. So there's a number of these tropical goods, these things that can't be made in Europe. And that's how they're colloquially known in the era, as tropical goods, even though maybe some of them could be grown in temperate regions, but something about Europe was unsuitable for it. And hence it was just considered a tropical good. Rubber, opium, sugar, tobacco, you name it, fancy fruit, all this stuff we need to go outside for. There. So we've had pride, we've had products, and then the third P, and this is going to lead into that third period of the game, paranoia. Getting something before the others get to it. I see here, I don't even have the 1.7 DLC, but the great game is evident to me, and I see the East India Company reaching, well, westward to the sublime state of Persia. I got to do something about that. They've got things that I'm going to need, and I need to get there. Whether I go through the Ottoman Empire or around Arabia by going through Africa, but whatever I do, I need to get there before the East India Company does. The Spanish were having a war with China. It looked like that it didn't go well for them because it's over, but they wanted to get a treaty port. That's an alert. The British already picked theirs up. The Spanish are looking for one. The Russians have picked up a heck of a treaty port. It's called it's called Eastern Manchuria. I need to get to China before it's gone in the hands of other European nations. This is what I'm looking at. What about Africa? Well, I see the French and British expanding in North Africa. The Spanish have got their bit of Morocco here. Looks like the United Kingdom and Spain are active down in this area. All right, all right. I do have the AI set on highly aggressive, so it's going to try to grab things. The British are in Kenya. All in all, we're not yet at the time period where Africa is ready to be taken over. We have not yet discovered quinine, but the inroads are being made. And if I'm able to go through Austria and get access to the Adriatic, then working on my North African adventure with Tripoli, with Egypt, Crete, Cyprus, and so forth, taking these areas will mean I have them and not somebody else. Those are the three keys for expansion: prestige, products, and paranoia. And I've got all three just right. So how am I going to do this? Well, again, I said keep within the bounds of history. Let the computer do whatever. It'll cheat. It'll have a naval range of infinity. But let's be sensible here. As you and I are the human players. Let's be sensible here. Let's not have Germany declare war on China and have really no way of getting there easily, or Germany declaring war in Brazil right now. It needs to have coaling stations. It needs to have ports along the way that would support that adventure. It needs to have logistics in hand, crops being grown along the way to help feed the armies. Okay, so let's go back to that plan that I had. Plow through Austria. Does Austria have any friends right now? It has rivalry with the British, and the British are good friends of mine. This will go well. They've got some Italian things I don't care for, but we're okay with that. We'll plow through Austria and get Trieste, a port on the Adriatic. Then that would justify the ability for German fleets to operate in the Mediterranean. That would justify the invasion of Egypt, and then Egypt would be used as a land base against Ottoman interests in the area. And then once that is secured, we will work on the Suez Canal, and we will also begin preparing the ground for Persia. Now, if for some reason we're able to actually conquer enough of the Ottoman Empire to get all the way to Persia, I don't think we will. But if we did, then yeah, we'd have a land route there. But I don't think that's going to happen, because even though, yeah, I could go pretty ham over here in Africa, the Ottomans are still considered to be a European nation. And I would have just made a big grab here through Austria. How would that be justified? Well, Austria looks like it's failing. It's lost Bohemia. It's lost northern Italy there. It's weak. And another war with Germany, it'll fall apart. Maybe in that war, not only do I take provinces, but then I also free like Hungary and Galicia Lodomeria, although the Russians might not like that. Am I good friends with them? Yeah, they kind of like me there. Yeah, I'm a desirable ally. Maybe I shouldn't tick them off by making Galicia, but cutting Hungary out, yeah, that's fine. Doing something there just to show Austria is now a vacuum and Germany is ready to advance into that area. But Ottoman Empire is still a European country, and well, let's see how their relations are. France is, yeah, we get some conciliatory attitudes with the rest of the world there, so they may not take kindly to me just punching them down. But the Egyptian possessions, I think those are fair game. I won't interfere with their European things, and I'll make all kinds of speeches on it, but their Egyptian territory by rights belongs to Germany because we took the rest of it. Okay. And then Persia. Wow. Everybody hates Persia here. Or Persia rather hates everybody. They want to... Wow. Yeah. Russia, Ottoman Empire, they're ready to eat them up. And the British East India Company views them as in need of their protection. I view Persia as being in need of my protection because it is a target of conquest. So I got to get there before the others do. There's the paranoia, and there's the process of how I'm going to execute on that. Now, once I get into Persia and I've got Egypt, yeah, the rest of Mesopotamia looks like it's a place for German expansion. Am I going to actually have colonial development? That's a good question there. I'm thinking no. What if I don't pass any colonial institution? I just conquer territory and like take up Ethiopia and elements out here because they've got rubber over here. And maybe also I've got the German East Indies here. They've got rubber, and I could take over possessions in Southeast Asia, and eventually, yes, I want my slice of China. But all in time. Once I've got Persia, then and the Suez Canal, that establishes the route into Indonesia, and then it becomes a viable base for expansion further into Asia. If something opens up in Latin America, I might jump into that, and as long as the USA is looking the other way. But the main focus is going to be eastward, going around Russia and into China. Why not into Russia? Because, well, they don't have the products I need there. They don't have rubber. Russia is not known for its tropical goods. It's rather famous for its subarctic goods, but not tropical ones. I don't need it in Russia, and I only need a little bit of Austria just to get through to the Adriatic, and maybe some more German population because the mid 1800s reasons of ethnicity and all that stuff. They should join with their fellow Germans, and then the Hungarians and other groups should be left out unless there's something in there that we need, and then we'll have a reason why they should belong to us and all that. But that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I want to also encourage you as a player to do, is to think these things out. Read some more history if you can, but think them out, and don't leave yourself unlimited. Even though the game says go wherever you will, conquer whatever you want to do, your navies have infinite range, you as a player can limit and go step by step. Even though you may have something that says you can take as many provinces as you want, limit yourself as a player. Hold back. Take just one at a time in the European conflicts, or justify it in a weird way that the other one is now crumbling. And in fact, with Austria, let's make sure it really is crumbling. They are, They're a major power, no longer a great power. Germany has ascended enough and can justify itself and that it is the rightful heir of Metternich's system, yada, yada, yada. We're going to take over and do that. So come up with those rationalizations. It takes just a few seconds in your own mind, and then you carry on. But it means that you're not going to paint the map. You're going to tint the map. You're not going to take over the world. You're going to just add a little bit of shade to each area that looks more like your own. And when we get to 1.7, it's going to be more like that, or the potential for that is going to be much greater, and I really look forward to it. But get in your mind already that the three things you need are prestige, products, and paranoia, and that should power your desire to go out into the world. Even if you've already got all the prestige you think you need and your economy is doing fine with all the products you have, paranoia should still get you to reach for areas that look completely useless, but just so that way you can have them before somebody else gets them. I hope you have fun with your Victoria 3. I really hope that the DLC comes out well. I'll be releasing this, and then in a few days the DLC comes out, and I hope to have some review for that as soon as I can. But for you, whether you have the new DLC or not, remember, prestige, products, paranoia, and that should guide your game. Hope all your diplomatic plays go the way you want, and I hope you're able to pass all the laws you want without them getting to the legislative graveyard. I've had a rough legislative time, but hey, you know, lucky in war, unlucky in politics, as they say. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.